Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Big J Money here, and I'm pretty much just doing a quick little video before I head off because actually I'll be in a couple hours. I'll be leaving to head on a flight to Baltimore to watch the Ravens play the Minnesota Vikings. That's why I got this Ravens beanie on. When I got my Ravens jersey, no, at least going into Baltimore with a little love, So yeah, so that's the main thing there. Um, I guess the next thing is at least say a few things before I go, because on time of recording it's November 5th. This will be out probably on November 6th for my 25th birthday. So I want to at least say a few things about it. First of all, I'm actually honestly happy that I'm turning 25 years old. The fact I'm turning 25 years old is a big thing for me because I don't say there's a lot of things about my life that I honestly have, because look at what I've been through in my life and what I've had to deal with. Like, for example, I got 4 or 5 years old, I was diagnosed with autism. Um, at 4 years old, my mother died due to lung cancer. I've had to live with my had to live with my father. Sister was pretty much like a second mother to me. My dad got remarried. My stepmother, I would say, for a good half of time they've been married. Half got married around 10, and I'll say like the good first half wasn't like that relationship wasn't the best. Pretty much, I mean, there was a point out in time I could have ran away. Honestly, I could have just ran away from home at 15 after my freshman, probably literally during my of winter break of 2011. So I could have, that is something I could have done, like ran away and just spend Christmas somewhere in the cold or something like that. Which I'm not. That was a long time. That was like water under the bridge. Um, I was kicked out of my stepmother's house pretty much like the second half of my senior year. Pretty much like going into my towards the end of my first semester of senior of high school, and then pretty much having to live with my sister, having to take like TARC buses to and from high school in order to get my diploma. That was a and that was like a hell. That was a long. I mean, that was tough, but I went through it. Went through that, and then having spent a year at Western Kentucky University, WKU, if you will, pretty much had to leave because I spent like my because the 20 grand that my family, my dad, and my late grandfather at the time saved up wanted me to go. That got spent like instantly for that first year, and that was pretty much from there. I just pretty much, instead of going to Western, I just went to JCC, spent a year and a half there, and I just said, man, this school shit isn't for me. And then I decided to spend a career at UPS, have a career at UPS. Been there for 5 years, and it's been great. I've enjoyed working there. Happy to work there. And then from that point forward, I pretty much have been through a lot, but I've mentioned a lot of things, but I haven't mentioned everything. I haven't mentioned like everything. Like, for example, because around this time I honestly could have, because honestly my life could have been cut long, could have been, maybe I would have lived to see 20, But there was a point in time I wanted to at least say goodbye. It could have been gone at like 15 because it was like something about me had like, because, um, cause it was time in like mid to late January and early February. I was pretty much going, I was in a bad way for a good part. Good point, because what I've been um, for example, off, TV off. Sorry, I had TV on, so turn that off. Because I'll say for the first part of high school, for a good chunk of a while, I've made some friends, but but I was like naturally, but I was like an introvert. I'm still one now, but I've been more able to like talk to people and like express myself. Back then, I never wanted to talk to anybody. I was like super quiet, and I was super quiet and super chill. And I was like, I'm like trying to open up and express myself to anybody, especially to girls back then. And I was like, um, at the time, I was going through a tough time actually. A tough time. I was dealing with. I was dealing with because at that time frame, Ravens ended up losing, because I pretty much fell bad because I was like, I don't know what my grades were, but I was like, my classmates, I was fighting as of classmates, pretty much being annoyed by a lot of things. I don't think my grades were slipping, but we were not like the best from what I was doing when I got out of middle school. Middle school, pretty much had a hard time. Some people was able to make friends. Some people I just like couldn't stand them. Some are some can stand. Others I like. I've grown to like. I've grown to like them now. But I was like, about everyone knew I had a crush on like this one girl who was like this foreign exchange student, and that was a situation that I'm pretty much I was I mean I grew and I didn't have a crush on her, but I didn't want to like, but I didn't have a chance to like say anything. I was like kind of shy, and I didn't know how to like press that kind of thing for her, but I didn't like try at least do the first step, which was like immediately like introduce myself and at least try to at least build like some sort of like friendship type of thing. But that was something completely different, and that was something I shouldn't have done in the beginning. So there was like, and that time frame, one doesn't know, this was in 2012. At that point in time, because throughout that time, like those few weeks, for like a few weeks span, I was dealing with like having a hard time with school. That was when me and my summer got into it. Because one thing is, my dad had like this surgery, I believe. Had his surgery. I believe it was a hip replacement. I'm not sure what it exactly was. I think it was like a hip replacement. I think it was something like a hip replacement or something. It was that time when my dad had like a multitude of surgeries. Like, my dad's 72 right now. So if you're wondering, 72. So at this time he was like 62. and he was pretty much going for surgeries, like hip replacement surgeries. Um, he later on had to do emergency back surgery because of fluids being set into him. Had to have rotator cuff surgery. He dealt with a battle of throat cancer, and like he's been through a bunch for a good chunk of a decade, but he goes through it, and he still has this smile on his face. He still talks to people. He's a great man. Man is just going through life like it's nothing. Like it's been nothing. So, like to me, so, but at that point in time, but from, but to my point for like that few weeks span, like, so I had to deal with my stepmom pretty much, spend time with stepmom pretty much during that surgery. My dad, for the first part he had after his hip replacement surgery, which was like the week before winter break, had the hip replacement surgery, and at the time he was doing some of the rehab stuff in this little at this well, it is a nursing home, but it's also like a rehab place. And for like the first week, he was there. He was there for the week, for like a week or two, week and a half, 2 weeks, and he was and for that time frame, he was. And at the time he was there. Now during the week, me and my stepmom would go over there like together, stay there for like an hour or two, and then we would just go back, walk across the street back home like nothing. And then that was our thing for the week. And what happened? So Friday comes around. Now, semester's over. Now it's time to go to winter break. Winter break. I've just fought myself so get off the bus, and I was thinking of like, I could just walk inside, probably drop my bag off real quick, but I could have just chose like, I'll just go in, drop my bag off, Tim's line back, and then just like, hey, I'm gonna go walk across the street, see Dad, which could have been a thing. I could have done that, or just walk, or like, no, I'm right across the street from my father. I could just walk, across the street and go see him. So I just did that. I walked across the street from my father, said hi to him, see how he was doing, hung out with him for like an hour or two, and then, my stepmother called him, was wondering if I was with him, and I was like, yep, and I was like, okay, so I was thinking, so I understand, I'm 15 at the time. My thought process at that point was, okay, she knows I'm with him, with my father, and it's not like it's anything bad. I went to see, instead of me going directly home, decided to go see my dad right across the street. I didn't think it was any big deal. But my stepmother, exact opposite. She was like, she made it a bigger deal than it should have been, and I'm like, and I think 99% of any situation, I get it. Plus, also, another thing I didn't do at the time was I didn't have carry a cell phone with me for a good chunk of time. I didn't carry any cell phone with me to school with me, because you had to sign like a form, and the parent had to sign it, parents had to sign some form, and majority of the time you couldn't have your phone at all until like my senior year. Then you just like start allowing just cell phones to be in your hands. So till senior year basically. But so my stepmom pretty much is at that point just like, yeah, I was going to leave you just at home, but at this point, nah, fuck that. You're coming with me to do whatever it is, the getting stuff. No, doing this like coming with me to like, I don't know what it was. I was like, I don't know if it was like had to do with like a food bank, doing stuff for a food bank or something. I don't know what. I can't remember what it was. But it was something to do with basically my stepmother's church, and it was just like on 22nd Street. 22nd Street. 22nd Street or something like that. And this is like 22nd Street. And it's on 22nd Street. 22nd and Jefferson? Yeah, Jefferson. I guess 22nd and Jefferson. We'll just say that. And basically, my stepmother pretty much was like, try to get me to do any of this stuff. And I'm like, seriously? I do not care. Nor do I give a single fuck about any of this. I was like, I don't want to be here. Like, I even expressed this to her, like, look, you were making this a bigger deal than it should be. Like, all I was is across the street, talk to my father for, like, go see my dad. And I'm right across the street. And I have my own key. I get it. And understand, I don't carry a phone with me to school. So yeah, I should have went with the first thought, which was go across the street, just go to the house, go in, drop my back off, grab my cell phone, tell my line like, hey, I'm here, I'm gonna go see Dad. I'll just walk across the street alone. And it's like, okay, well, come in from the garage, and because I'll have the door unlocked, and then everything would have been fine. It would have been like no issue. As long as I would have handled whatever her business was, I would have been fine by myself. I would have just chilled at home. Probably doing either watching Friday Night SmackDown maybe. Like watching Friday Night SmackDown, or hopped on the Xbox 360, played some Black Ops 2, some Super Street Fighter 4, and just went about my day. But my stepmother thought otherwise and was like, try to drag me to her stuff, do her stuff, and I'm like, you and I both know I don't want to do this. It's clearly obvious I don't. And we argued about that, and I'm like, seriously, you are making a bigger deal than something like this. And it got to a point like we both agreed like I don't want to be here. And I was like, oh, you don't want to be here? Why don't you just walk home? So she told my dad, and I was like, so bet. I just walked. I literally walked from 22nd in Jefferson all the way to like, I think 8th in Jefferson. And here's the thing about that. At the time, I didn't know anything about TARC buses. Anything about TARC buses? I didn't know anything about TARC buses whatsoever. arc buses. So I ended up taking the 40 bus, the 40 tarc bus, which is the one that actually took me from downtown back to where I lived at. So I ended up taking that bus back. I'm thinking to myself, like, that's, I mean, surprising. And then I'm like, there could have been a thought to myself at that point. There would have been. So at that point, there was two options in my mind at that point. I could have, went back home, packed a bag of some clothes, of my clothes and some shit, left, got back on the 40, and with whatever money I had, took a fucking Greyhound bus to wherever, to like whatever was the cheapest. I could have left. Or B, I could just stay here and then just whenever she decides to come back here, she can decide if she wanted to kill me, or if she wanted to go at it, and either one of us is going to leave here is going to be leaving here dead. So be it. I was like, so I just went home, stayed, kind of packed the bag, and just kind of thought about it if I wanted to leave or not. And, well, never came back because Simon came back to the house, finds me there, and then she was like, I think she called like one of her, I think my cousin's, pretty much my cousin Tyrone, who's on her side of the family, and told her like, told him like, hey, can you like can you please like watch over him for the weekend for like till Sunday, and like, because right now I kind of want to kill him right now. So now I don't know why she chose to like bring me to her family. I could have stayed with my sister. Now that's something that actually happened, like, because I stayed with her family for 2 nights, went to church Sunday with her, and then for like the next, and then it's like during that afternoon, she tried to do all her Christmas shopping and shit, and I'm just like, and this is the thing about me, like on Sundays, I don't want to do anything. I want to just go home, watch football, play video games, and chill, because this is Sunday, like this is the start of winter break. I get to stay up all night. I can just chill at home, play video games all day, or watch TV all day, and chill out. I'm like, and my stepmother was like begging me to like go, and I'm like, no, fuck you. I ain't going where I'm leaving, there was a part I wanted to leave the store, and she was like, no, if you leave, I'll call the cops on you. Because I'm like, basically he would have been at that point like a runaway or some bullshit, and I'm like, bitch, fuck you. You was 12. You was 12. At that point in time, you were 12. You was 12. You worked for 12. You're the po-po. So I was like, you know what? Fuck you and fuck 12. I was like, fuck it. I don't care. I was on my NWA shits at that time frame. So there was a lot of things on my mind at that point. So I really was like, fuck this bitch. I was like, literally like, fuck this bitch. So eventually, like, she realized, like, I can't deal with this nigga until I need to, without my father. So she was like, so eventually, I think she called my sister and then told me, like, can you take care of him for, like, till your dad comes back? Because till Christmas, because me and him are pretty much about to murder each other. Either I'm about to murder your brother, or we both gonna murder each other. So please take care of him. So, and I ended up staying with my sister for a few days till Christmas, and then Christmas Day, that was when my dad was supposed to come back home. So I think it was supposed to come home like Christmas Eve, maybe Christmas Day, and then basically it was like that. And but that was part of one thing I dealt with. And then I don't know about you, but I don't get depressed or anything like that. I say it does. I do feel like a bit of a seasonal like type of feeling, like emotional thing. Like I don't want to say it's depression, but it's like a seasonal thing where I'm just like in the lowest mood for like from I believe from say right after Martin Luther King Day to like Valentine's Day, and it might go away maybe 2-3 days after Valentine's Day. So, and that's been a thing that's been for a while, and it's not as bad, but it gets horrendous. But it's kind of started. But that part kind of started around, I say, my freshman year of high school, like 15. Because I'll be honest, like about everyone, all my friends, everyone in my friend circle, pretty much was in some form of relationship with another girl in our class, one form or another at that time. And the thing about that time frame, it was bad for me being the one who was single, was like now dating like that, because and one of the things about me was about that crush with that girl, I was flustered, and there was there was a day, one day, I had to stay after school one day for tutoring, because I was kind of feeling like, I think it was science, actually, science, I believe, science was one of them, so I was kind of failing science, so I was like taking tutoring. I was like tutoring after school. Came in after school for tutoring, and one day, so I did my tutoring. Took my like 20 minutes. 20 minutes, and then I was like 15-20 minutes, and basically I had like another 10-15 minutes left before I had to go to it's been another, so I had another 10-15 minutes before my dad would have picked me up at like 3 o'clock, so I was there for like a good 15, so I needed some ways to spend time away, and it's like, and I was like, want to find a place to like chill, listen to some music for a little bit, and then maybe like write some stories, because that was at the time I was trying to write my story stuff, like now I was working on like kind of had the first ideas of like my Meteor Boy stuff. I was also like writing poems and like little stories and papers and stuff. So I was like trying to find a place to chill for a few minutes, be creative, and like think about stuff, and listen to music and vibe and whatnot. So one of the things that happened was at that time. Now it was not a secret that I had a crush on this foreign exchange student who was from Japan. And let me say this, I'm one of the reasons why I had a crush on her, because I I was in this phase. I had a phase at the time, which kind of started when I was like 5. At 5, I pretty much, you gotta say I'm fucked up from this. I pretty much had a fetishization for Asian women. Now it's not as bad. Now I've I kind of it's phased out now. Do I have a preference for Asian women? Kind of, but I'm kind of like more or less like it don't matter much to me. I will say, I mean, if I have preference, I just need a girl who has a nice, pretty much a good ass, a big ass. So so. Okay, back then 10 years ago. If you asked me 10 years ago, it would be titties. But now, I've matured. I've now have acquired a taste for booty. Okay, as Felicia Johnson would say, getting booty was more important than eating food. It was more important than drinking water. Okay, I will say if I was saying if there's a girl who got a nice plump set of peaches, I'm just saying, a part of me, and it's like, it looks like it's free real estate. I mean, don't be surprised if I slide down over and just tells you, I likes ya, and I wants ya. And I'm not ready to rest, but you get it. But in that time frame, so everyone knew I liked this girl. Now there was like this one girl who was kind of a good friend, good friend. Kind of knew I had a crush on her. Was part of like the thing about her. She was part of like the freshman basketball team, girls basketball team. So girls who saw me just chilling, like, because I was in an area that was right by, like, the girls' locker room. So, yeah, this is how you know, this is how the story went. This is how you know this story, like, damn, and I know someone's going to say, like, man, you were down, I was down bad, okay? Let's just say this. I was down bad, horrendous. I was down catastrophic at that point. So, I'm just like trying to pretend like, hey, listen, I was not trying to make any moves, nothing. I wasn't trying to be a stalker or anything, but it was bad. So I ended up having to leave. I was embarrassed for myself. I was that embarrassed for that. I was embarrassed for that situation where someone, I was embarrassed there, and then and that was out to that same year, like, because it was the same playoff year that pretty much Ravens lost to the Patriots because of Billy kind of in that going wide right on that fucking field goal, which could have sent us fucking overtime, which still pisses me off to this fucking day. And I was 50. Still pisses me off to this fucking day. Dealt with that. I was pretty much pissed off on that because I understand at the time, like before Lamar came in, Louisville was pretty much kind of a Bengals, Colts, Titans like city. It was mostly Bengals and Colts, but a little bit of Tennessee Titans sprinkled in. I'm on the Ravens Tennessee. I was like one of very, very few. It was pretty much just me, my sister, and a few others in the city, whoever they were, and wherever they were, and that was about it. Everyone else was Bengals, Colts. Some were Patriots fans. Some were Patriots fans. Some were like, one of them was a Jaguars fan, and the rest I don't remember much, but all of them pretty much were roasting the fuck out of me. And the thing about me at the time, I pretty much was like very passionate, came to as a fan. So basically at that point, I pretty much was like, if you want to talk that shit, I was ready to fight on sight. Like, I was ready to fight anybody on sight at that point. Like, I was ready to just practically just run up and run the fade with anybody and everybody at that point. So I had this shit involving my family, dealing with my stepmother, which was one, dealing with the shit with my stepmother that going into winter break, dealing with bad grades in school, dealing with a second-hand embarrassment of that loss, getting pretty much being roasted by a lot of people. And in this case, basically now I'm pretty much at that point was branded like a stalker at this point. So did I ever like apologize for that? I wish I did, but understand at that point in time I was like super introverted. If I had a chance to like apologize, I should have done it like last day of school, just pretty much, because actually we did share like a class, share one class together. I should have just walked up to her, told him like, hey, sorry about what happened a few months ago. I apologize. Apologize for that. I should have been more open to you about how I felt about you. I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form. I regret doing what I did, and I hope you can forgive me. And then I hope you have a good summer, and then bing bang boom, like it would have been done, Dunsky. So at that point in time, I went through all of that hell. I kind of felt like I was in like all this hell, because I'm being roasted. I'm pretty much being roasted by everybody, because I was a Ravens fan. I was roasted like shit. I was roasted by a ton of people. Pretty much a lot of people who are still friends. I'm still friends with to this day. Some I'm pretty much just like roasted the fuck out of me. Pretty much I was deal with like the embarrassment. Now I'm pretty much was being labeled a stalker, and I felt I was pretty much failing classes. The shit was, my situation with my family was still rocky at that point. So at that point I was at this point in my life, I got to that point of like a crossroads with myself. Like, there was like two things I wanted to do at that point in time, and it was only this in my mind. And that was, I either A, just packed a bag or a suitcase, grabbed some clothes, grabbed some clothes, got on a bus, just snuck out of the house like late, late in the morning. Like late in the morning. And and then at that point just had one of two options. I just chose to basically do at that point like get a Greyhound and just one way ticket, one out Greyhound ticket to wherever, just and just live the rest of my life pretty much. No, no, hitchhiking around the country and just paying out for money and start a new life somewhere from that point. Or, and I just chose at that point that I wanted to, and I don't know if Big Four Bridge was open at that point. It was either Big Four Bridge or in this case at the time, take the 2nd Street Bridge, walk the 2nd Street Bridge, use my school backpack, which was full of books, went over it, go walk like in the middle, like where it's like nothing but river, climbed the railing and jump into the river. That was like I had that choice in my life. I could have just ran away from home and just never done anything with my life and just said forget school and just been a high school dropout and pretty much be a bum, pretty much be a teenage runaway, running away around the country, trying to find some way to live. Besides, I could have been selling drugs or be in prison somehow from doing something like robbing a gas station or doing something like being in a gang or something. Done something like that. And could have died, couldn't, or would be, instead of living, about to be 25, here in my own apartment, I would have been spending my 25th birthday in a jail cell somewhere. Either that, or jumped off, went to the 2nd Street Bridge, jumped into our river, and drowned in my life at 15. Which, and I debated what I wanted to do at that point. I was thinking of those two options. How I knew it was going to happen, I written a note saying like, hey, I don't know what I wrote down. I just told my family like, look, I'm sorry, but I just couldn't deal with this years of high school being couldn't deal with this shit anymore. I didn't want to be here no more. Didn't want to keep dealing with whatever this shit is. Like, Like I knew me and my stepmother will never get along. Would never get along. So I didn't know if. So at this point, I'm like, freshman year already. I'm already so far in this freshman year. I'm already pretty much being laughed at as a Ravens fan, and I already have. I'm pretty much getting fights with about. Pretty much want to get in fights with pretty much everyone from my fellow freshmen to like upperclassmen. Upperclassmen. And now I'm pretty much being labeled as like a stalker. I was like, oh, at that point wanted to just. I was like, I can't do it anymore, and sorry. This is better than this. So I had an option. I was about to set up the plan. Almost had the plan set up. I think I set an alarm on my phone. I would get up at like early enough where I know everyone is asleep. No one's up. I would just grab my things, snuck out. Snuck out, I don't know, or just probably would have done it through going out through the front door. And yeah, I went through that. It was that was that time in my life I wanted to go through that. So it was. So what happened from that to it? I don't know. Just right around that time, I was pretty much about to just go out and do it. I don't know what stopped me, but something just told me like, just don't do it. Someone told me just stay at home. Just go through the rest of it. And I don't know what, but somehow I stayed home, went through it, went to school, and went through the rest of the school year. Some stuff chilled out by like, things started chilling out more by like, kind of like at that point just eventually got over Ravens losing that game. Pretty much accepted the thought that I did this. Now let me see if I can just make an apology or something. Which I sadly never did, but I honestly wish I did. I went through, got past my, eventually passed all my classes of freshman year, and went on to graduate high school. Did everything else, like going to Western, having a job at UPS, and everything. So it was like, I'm gonna be real honest. I wasn't. If you asked me, like, if you were wondering if I would ever do something like that, be at this point now, I just remember I just didn't think I would be here at this point. And it took me to a point like, realize I really achieved something great with my life. There was a photo where me and my friends were. It was my senior year, and during your senior year activities there was we all went on a trip to the Bell Ride together, and I remember I had a bunch of photos of that day. I, where me and like everyone together all had photos. Oh, I had this group photo where it was me and like uh, and like a bunch of of the guys who are like a part of my squad, like pretty much all were together, you know, taking photos together. Was on this photo together, and I remember tweets they actually put like from that bell ride, and it was like tweets, and I was like, and it was like one of the things about one that stood out to me the most, and I still have it to this day. I'm gonna read it real quick. I don't know if he still has his Twitter anymore. I don't think he has his Twitter anymore, but I do want to read this because this one made me realize, or else I went, that I pretty much realized I really, that I pretty much went through, I knew like that life was pretty much good at this point. Let me go through, I gotta go through a bunch of old ones. Because I have to go through stuff that was from like, which one is it? Is this one? No. Yeah, here it is. This is from Sam White. This was May 14th, 2015. I think anyone can find inspiration in Jason Johnson. That kid has been through so much in his life and has more fun than anyone. And that anyone, and I'll probably post the photo up in high school. And I remember looking at the photo that day all was together, and I was like, and like looked at a couple more photos. So like one year when I was in Western, looking at those, the photo of like of some of the tweets that they like tagged me in and some of the other things, and I'm just like, and it just made me realize like, man. And I'm like, at that point in time, like, as much as like shit was down at that point in time, I just like this, like, I just look at everything that I've did, and like among them was like the one photo when I was at state tournament, years ago, which is pretty much my pretty much the picture you see. That's part of pretty much kind of like my logo, which is that's been me in 2015. All I remember was that year, that the photo. I consider that like my photo because it's like that was me 3 years ago, and that's still been me to this day. So that was me ripping off the mindset of like what I felt years ago, and the fact that I almost really, I pretty much at a point wanted to in my life 3 years ago, and me doing what I did was kind of like me tearing through, like, I don't know, in a way, kind of symbolized me shedding that skin off. Because that that, because 3 years later, I was living with my stepmother. I was living with my older sister. I pretty much was able. I was pretty much at that point was knowing I was going to graduate high school, and I was like 3 months prior to this, I said, "Mom, kick me out," and then 3 months afterwards, I pretty much am going to. I'm still going to school. I'm still getting good grades. I'm still. Well, let me just cut to the point here. Everything that I went through at that point in the decade ago, I, as much as I wanted to, I will say that during that, I've done some dumb stuff during that decade leading up to now. Like, those time I was taking like honey buns and like, I took a couple of honey buns and like Monster Energy drink or two from what was a Fordins, which was right across the street from school. I've done that, done some, but I really didn't have much money on me. I pretty much have paid for like escort services with like, I say 20 different women in like a 4 year span. In a span of like, I say 4 years. And like, and I mean, I've probably said or done a bunch of things that honestly would have not pretty much. I've seen, I mean, there's a lot of things I could have done. Like, honestly, at that point, like, at 18, 15, I was pretty much like I ever wanted to end. Wanted to pretty much either kill my stepmother, or there was a point in my life, or there was a point like literally one time she honestly said she would put a gun on me, and I pretty much was honestly wanted her to do that. Like, I honestly wanted her to put a bullet in me. So there was a point in time if I wanted to die, and I'll honestly, yes, a few times. As much as I've said that, as much as a part of me wanted to, I want you all to know that no matter what, as much as I wanted to, I didn't. You will never. One thing you'll hear me say, I feel like doing, kill myself. But I will guarantee you one thing for certain is this: you are not going to hear me. You're not going to hear me on the news taking my own life. So I want you to know this. If any of y'all wanted to see me down and out, I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm always will be here. And I'm going to continue being here. So I'm saying this right now. This is the show. Didn't end for me at 15 years old. It didn't end for me at 18 years old. We got 25 years old. We're going strong. So this right here is still the haters. If I wasn't going to be here. I ain't leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. Because the show's going on. And if you all do want to take me out, you guys are gonna need a fucking wrecking ball to take me out. You might have to send in a SWAT team. You might have to send in the National Guard, because at this point, I ain't going anywhere. And any of y'all who do want me out, only thing is this: hold my nuggets and suck my dick. It's going to be 25 now, friends. I hope to be on this channel again once we hit 50. Hopefully by the time we hit 50. Who knows? Maybe there will be a point I get maybe a million subscribers. Or I get to a point where I actually get that down play button. Maybe I get 10 million. I'm going to be on there at 50. And rocking chair, cold beer in hand, with like one of those like cold beer in hand and a scar in my mouth. We celebrating like, you did good. You did good. So, I'm not gonna ask you guys to like this video. I'm not asking you guys to just share this. I'm not asking you all to share it. I'm not asking you all to like it. I'm not asking you to subscribe to the channel or anything. But that was something I wanted to get off my chest for a long time. I never mentioned it to anybody, but that was something I felt for a long time, and it was a bad time for me. But I'm good now, and I'm here. All I know is this: I'm ready to be 25. I'm ready to see what we're gonna do next. I've been here for in this planet for a quarter century. Now I wonder what can we do for the next quarter century, so that way when we celebrate my 50th, I wonder how we're gonna celebrate. So now, do I think the same people will be around? I don't know. But I will say this: if you are in a bad situation like I was a decade ago, or you know somebody that could be in a bad situation, be there for them. And no matter what, go seek help. Go seek help right now. Get yourself help. And don't be afraid to tell people about it. Especially if you're a man, woman, child. And yeah, just stay strong. Stay strong. So until then, my friends, I'm Big J Money. I'll be seeing you guys soon. I'm actually gonna be recording a vlog in Baltimore, and I want you guys to be. I'll be recording a vlog in Baltimore. I'll be hanging out with the family. If you guys are in Baltimore, in the Baltimore area, if you guys see me, Alan, see me and my family out, just stay out. Don't worry, say hi, So, and get around because of this. So, till then, y'all, thank you very much for watching this video. Guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Till then, my friends, goodbye and good night.